Alright, so in this video I'm going to show you guys what to do when you get the 092-318, in particular for this one, for yellow cartridge, or any of the corresponding color cartridges that ask you to reinsert and then reboot the machine. So here I am doing the reinsert. I'm just also double checking connections. Now, this is after I got it all back together. What I did find here is that I had to reboot the machine multiple times. And that is because the yellow feed auger system was clogged. And I emptied it, which meant it took a while for the yellow toner to fill the auger dispenser. Now there's a procedure in the wrap that makes you do like a cheat stop test while checking this, and this checks for the ROS. So this is what I do, is as it's rebooting, I stick a screwdriver or something in the interlock to make the printer think that the door is closed, and then we're going to watch the transfer belt. If you're doing this procedure and you have any of the colors missing that's corresponding to the error code, the ROS system, they say the laser assembly, needs replaced. You gotta watch closely. It's the 4 bands, they're 4 rectangles, they go by kind of quickly. If you need to, use your camera and videotape this. See, I've got all 4 colors. Yellow's a little light. There is some lines in the cyan and a little bit in the magenta, but that's your initial test to determine if the ROS is bad or if the auger dispenser is clogged or the motor gears are not turning. So in this video, I'm going to show you the reverse process of putting it back together. Remember to take lots of pictures before you take anything apart. Xerox can get quite complicated. And also a couple tips and shortcuts to not have to spend as much time. I think we're good for that. Well, I think once this screen's up, that's when we get the errors. Yay! So it just takes a couple times to get it going. After you do the ROS. Print a couple. Insert toner message error, which would have been, of course, yep, 092-38 or 316, 317, and I think 319. I believe there's 6 sequential numbers after the 31, depending on what color it is. All right, there you go. You get the error, reinsert toner. So you reinsert the toner and it's still coming up as an error. The machine won't print. You can try and reseat your drums or replace them. It doesn't do anything. So when you get to the manual says you need to replace the ROS or the laser system. But in order to get to the laser system, you got to take pretty much everything apart. You know, you got your toner carriage feeder things here. I don't know, with the auger and gears to feed the toner down into the imaging units. And so you decide, well, you got to take everything apart. Do you still replace the ROS when you find out what's going on? I'm going to show you what I found. The one we have is for yellow toner. You can see it's full there. See, it has toner there. Not as full, but where's my yellow? Now, I was already messing with this a little bit, but I found the yellow. We got toner at the top where the toner dispenser puts it in, right? The toner cartridge. And then when I opened this up, it was empty. Now I've spun it to loosen it up. Most likely, this is your problem. But like I said, you're in a catch-22 because you got the whole machine torn apart and literally 2 screws to take the Ross out. Do you leave it in there and put everything back together? I don't know. I got the part. That's what we're going to find out today. I'm just going to replace the Ross, make sure that the yellow cartridge is spinning toner, and we'll go from there. All right. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and replace the Ross. It's 2 screws. Then a wire harness clip.
You still recording?
Yeah, it's fine. And of course, the wires are side off. Okay. I know. Well, you inserted the carriage all the way in, get your connector put in there. There are metal tabs in there that you got to fit this over on. Once I get it this side where it needs to be. Come on. There it is. Again, there's it's hard to see, but the end of the auger system fits into that little tab. There's a little metal tab right there. And then you got to get these 2 little detents or whatever shoved into this part right here. Take your plastic screws. One there, and one over here. And we'll take our magenta. You'll know which one because the longest one is black and that goes on the bottom. And you can see cyan is the 3rd shortest. And makes it easy to get the connection in there first before you shove it all the way in. wire. I didn't get the one wire back in the bracket all the way. Doesn't matter. Actually, 2 on each of these. Again, I took everything apart before I decided to make a video on this. There's your screw. You got one there and one on the back. One on the front, one on the back, or however you want to call it. One on each end here. A little metal tab here for plastic post to go into. In fact, all 4 of them have it. So that'll help you guide and line up your toner carriages. Oh, of course, I got that one on there. Flexible, chat. Freaking parts, I don't know what to do. Oh, so yeah, that was next. Bypass feeder assembly. You have to get that off in order to get the lower one out, and the lower one out has to come out first in order to get to the top, and then obviously to get to the Ross. Now, book probably says something like take all of this off. I did not. I loosened 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, enough to pull and pry this back. So we just got to get it basically clear of this, and it should slip in there. You got 2 tabs, 1 on each side, that'll fit in there. There's the gear that you have to bypass. You just have to get it out and around that. So fitting it up in there isn't that hard. Don't forget to pull your wire for it through. Now I'm gonna pull on the back of that gear. There it is. That's solid. That's where it needs to be. We got our tabs up in there. And that will go. All right, these are fat screws, I believe. There's fat machine. Little machine, and that one is a plastic. Again, I got screws everywhere because you get one point and then you're like, oh, well, that's got to come off. Now we're over here. So again, reminder to make sure you take pictures of every step as you go. It'll save you a lot of time and confusion. There's a big bracket here when you're going to put it back together. Now here you'll notice I took the ESS board out, but that was before I realized all I had to do was remove a couple screws around the main motor drive assembly. Because in order to get the cage and the motor assembly out, and that is in order to get the bypass feeder assembly out, you would have had to take the ESS board out, its cage, and then the motor main motor drive assembly. So I did not have to take the ESS board. I do not recommend doing that. You do not have to. Again, take pictures, take video along the way. Refer to the service manual if you have to. I don't remember. We got this motor assembly. Oh, I gotta get those screws in. For the main motor drive assembly. This bigger guy goes in first. There's springs, plugs into there. More springs connect there. Don't make it easy with their freaking wires, do they? Make sure you put your machine screws with the machine threads and plastic screws with the plastic threads. Put in there. Let's get some of these loose ones out of your way. ESS back in. Two little ones go on the back of the ESS board and the machine. a holder piece there and a holder metal piece there. Makes that pretty simple and easy. Get these two guys started. I figured out where it went. Like this.
You know, I had no doubt you would, Steve. That's why I wasn't even busy looking for pictures.
Yep. No peanut gallery.
Because you're highly qualified to protect what? Boy, that 806 wore me out. And I had to sit there and listen to her mouth about getting it replaced. Think we should get it replaced? I said, no, man. I said, we can fix these.
Now, hold on. Now we got that. Got this
There's a
over.
Xerox right by it, and they're trying to make double-sided copies of somebody's medical record from 10 years ago, and they're all bent and curled, and she wasn't even attempting to straighten anything out, and it was one jamming, either on the input or on the turnaround, and copy the other side. I said, you might as well try to feed in tree bark. I said, it'd probably be easier to feed. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, these feeders are designed to feed perfect paper. Not bent edges and rolled over edges. So here's what you need to do to each sheet. And I took the edge on the table and straightened out the edges and everything. And I said, this one will feed okay now. You need to do that to every single one. I don't have time for that.
So she'd rather sit there and keep on jamming it than straighten it out.
So that one fed through perfect, and then the next one that she didn't have time for, jammed. I didn't say anything, didn't even look at her. So the firmware took, I think we're gonna be in good shape for a while.
Nothing was broke, it was just jammed up there and then turn around. Exit.
The fact is, it didn't make it out. It hit something and went, it was all fan folded up in there.
You found it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I went to twiddle where the sensor arm is, and I was like, there's a piece of paper up in there. So I pulled it and pulled it and pulled it and pulled it. So it was all wrinkled up in there. Information on what the host name of the machine that was removed was. I gave Fred some information on it. It wasn't a P4015 he was supposed to pick up. It was a P3015 that he picked up. But he didn't bother to look and see what the host name was. So when he got back to the office and checked, the host name was what I had initially thought it was. And so I was able to fix that yesterday.
What was the issue?
They gave us the wrong host name. They gave us a host name of a machine, Dr. Phillips.
The customer did.
Yeah.
Well, what were they initially calling for?
They wanted all of the machines in the department changed out for M428s, so that each little office would have their own little scanned email and be able to print. They would have to all have the same toners, and it would be less of a hassle.
Where's this at?
Fifth 5B, all the way at the end.
Where Miss Mary used to sit?
Miss Mary used to sit there, but this is further down and around the corner.
How's it going over there?
Starting to make progress again.
It's going back together at least now.
Yeah, well, you know, Xerox. Gotta take one thing off, you realize you gotta take another thing off. And you misplace the screws. And then, you know, all sorts of stuff. It's great. Good stuff.
So Greg will be back tomorrow. Software expires in 5 days.
Mine too.
That is crap, I don't like that.
We are missing a cable. That goes there. And this one goes here.
Hey, Mitch, this is Gary with, Xerox, I'm one of the Orlando techs for Orlando Health. That's what I heard. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, they usually just say, send him an email with that information. Did they give you his email address on there, or? Okay.
Tray.
I'm gonna see if I can remote into the machine, and I will forward that information to him. ARM2420, is that correct? The host name that you put in? Yes. Okay, what is the Xerox, asset tag, the OH number that's on that machine? Nobody set that up, so it's 172.21.11.12, is that? Okay. I wanna send this information to the right people. And, yeah, I can do that, but I don't think they'll call you. They will be expecting a call from you, or, they usually don't deal with phone numbers. They like email or text. Yes. The IP address, the MAC address, the ARMT number. I'm in the machine, I've got the serial number and everything, so I know.
All right.
Yeah, actually, I'll respond to you.
I think we should try this before getting all the covers on.
ARMT, make sure that, there's something called OH print there, that, that will be updated, and I'll have it updated. Okay, so one of the guys isn't there, but Jordan Davis is there. So. Yes. I have worked with Jay before, but I'm a tech. I'm doing regular
Did you see
repairs.
it on, you really talked to her?
Yes.
Who? What?
You talked to her?
Oh, no, follow up.
Did they give you a list to go by and who to contact and all that kind of stuff?
Remember to always put these in a bag or a drawer. No light at all. When you have to take that out. When you have to work on something like that. Any Xerox.
Okay. Where are you located at? What hospital? Do you know? 22 West Underwood? And what floor are you on?
Now remember, you may have to do the reboot process multiple times to clear the error. Don't forget, don't get discouraged. Just keep rebooting the machine. It will eventually work after you do all this. Alright, so this was my third similar issue. I had a cyan and a magenta, now the yellow error code for these machines, the C405. All three I did the ROS. All three I made sure that the toner auger dispenser was clear or void of any clumps. And again, remember to take pictures, video. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I hope this helps.